You don't really see people clearly when you're chasing them. You see them clearly when you stop. That's usually when things change. Suddenly, the person who took forever to reply starts checking in. The person who acted distant starts becoming warmer. The person who seemed so sure they didn't care starts moving strangely. And sometimes it's not even warmth. Sometimes it's irritation, coldness, passive-aggressive energy, confusion, a weird shift you can feel immediately. And if you've been through this, you know exactly what I mean. It's like the moment you stop reaching, stop explaining, stop overgiving, stop initiating, stop trying to hold the connection together. The whole dynamic gets exposed. That's what we're talking about in this video. Why people start acting different when you stop chasing them. Not in a shallow dating advice way, not in a play hard to get way. This is deeper than that, because most people think chasing is just effort. But a lot of the time, chasing is also energy, a structure, a psychological arrangement. It creates a role for you, and a role for them. You become the one who maintains the bond. They become the one who receives it. You become the one who pursues clarity. They become the one who controls distance. You become the one who reaches. They become the one who decides how much access you get. And if that pattern goes on long enough, it starts feeling normal. Until one day, you stop. And when you stop, people don't just notice the silence. They feel the loss of control, the loss of validation, the loss of the role they had grown used to playing in your life. Carl Jung would probably say that relationships are often shaped as much by the unconscious roles people fall into as by what they openly say. That's why when you stop chasing someone, you're not just changing behavior, you're disrupting a hidden agreement. And the second that agreement is disrupted, truth starts coming to the surface. That's why they act different, because now they have to reveal what the old pattern was doing for them. So let's get straight into it. 1. They were used to your energy more than they were attached to you. This is the first thing people usually realize, and it hurts. Sometimes people were not as attached to you as you thought. They were attached to your energy, your effort, your consistency, your attention, your reassurance, your willingness to reach out first, your emotional availability, your habit of making the relationship easy for them. That's what they got used to. And when you stop chasing, they feel the absence of that immediately. Not always because they deeply miss you in a pure way, sometimes because they miss what your energy was doing for them. That's a hard truth, but it's real. A lot of people don't notice how much they rely on someone else's pursuit until it disappears. As long as you're the one texting first, checking in, asking how they are, smoothing over tension, reviving the conversation, making the plans, keeping things emotionally alive, they never have to fully examine how much effort they were actually giving. But once you stop, the emptiness becomes visible, and that's when they start acting different. Now they're uncomfortable. Now they feel the silence. Now they feel the relationship without your labor carrying it. Jung might say that people often confuse the emotional function someone serves with love itself. If you've been functioning as someone's source of attention, comfort, ego support, or emotional stability, they may call that connection. But the moment you pull back, you find out whether there was real depth there, or just dependency on what you provided. That's why some people come back the second you stop chasing. Not because they had some huge awakening, but because your energy was feeding something in them, and now they can feel the absence. 2. Your chasing gave them psychological power, and losing that changes their behavior. Let's be honest. Chasing creates a power imbalance. The one who cares more openly, explains more, reaches more, waits more, accepts mixed signals more, tries more, usually ends up in the weaker emotional position. Not because they're less valuable, but because they are revealing more need. And once a person gets used to being in the emotionally stronger position, they often start organizing themselves around it without even realizing it. They become more casual, more relaxed, more entitled, more slow to respond, more comfortable assuming you'll be there. Why? Because your chasing removed uncertainty for them. They didn't have to wonder where they stood. They didn't have to work as hard. They didn't have to risk much. They didn't have to reach. You were already doing the relational labor. So when you stop, you don't just remove effort. You remove the power cushion they were sitting on. And a lot of people react badly when that cushion disappears. Now they feel unsure. Now they have to wonder. Now they are the one feeling the gap. Now they don't know whether they still have the same access. That's when they start acting different. Some become nicer, some become anxious, some become irritated. Some try to re-establish control in subtle ways, because losing unearned emotional power unsettles people. Jung would probably frame this as an ego disturbance. The ego gets very comfortable in structures where it is fed, reassured, and prioritized. But when that structure shifts, the ego doesn't usually say, this is an opportunity for self-awareness. No, it reacts. And those reactions tell you a lot. Sometimes the way a person responds when you stop chasing reveals how much they were enjoying the position your chasing gave them, and that's important to see. Because it means what changed wasn't just the amount of contact. What changed was the emotional hierarchy. 3. When you stop chasing, people are forced to reveal their real level of interest. This is where clarity starts becoming painful, because while you're chasing, it's very easy to confuse movement with mutuality. There's conversation, there's contact, there's history, there's interaction. So you think, something is here, but a lot of that something may actually be your effort. That's what hurts. Sometimes the connection feels alive because you are keeping it alive, and once you stop, the truth appears very quickly. Either they start moving toward you, or they don't. Either they reach, or they fade. Either they care enough to bridge the gap, or they were only enjoying being carried. This is why stopping is so revealing. It removes the illusion. No more overcompensating. No more emotional CPR. No more creating depth through effort. Now the relationship has to stand on its own legs, and a lot of connections can't. Jung understood that unconscious patterns survive as long as nobody interrupts them. Your chasing may have been covering up the imbalance, softening the reality, delaying the truth. But once you stop, the pattern loses its disguise, and that's when you finally see what their interest looks like without your assistance. That moment is hard, but necessary, because a lot of people stay confused for years, not because the signs aren't there, but because they never stop filling in the missing effort themselves. And honestly, sometimes silence tells you more in a week than words told you in a year. 4. Some people feel rejected the moment you stop over-pursuing them. This part is interesting. When you stop chasing someone, they don't always interpret it as balance. Sometimes they interpret it as rejection. Even if all you did was stop overextending, even if all you did was return to neutrality, even if all you did was stop doing the work of two people. Why does this happen? Because people adjust to patterns very quickly. And once a person gets used to being pursued, that pursuit starts feeling normal, expected. So when you stop, it doesn't feel neutral to them. It feels like something is being taken away. It feels like distance, like disapproval, like emotional withdrawal, especially if they were unconsciously relying on your chasing to feel desired, important, or secure. That's why some people suddenly act hurt when you stop doing what should never have been one-sided in the first place. They're not always reacting to your absence. They're reacting to the loss of the emotional position they had in your world. Jung might say that what we experience as emotional pain is often tied to unconscious expectations we didn't realize we had. So if someone expected you to keep proving your interest, keep softening the silence, keep feeding the dynamic, then your withdrawal will hit deeper than they want to admit. And instead of saying, "I got used to your effort," they may act weird, cold, confused, touchy, passive-aggressive, extra distant, because now they feel the insecurity you used to carry for both of you. That's one of the strangest parts of stopping. When you stop absorbing all the uncertainty, the other person suddenly has to feel some of it too, and not everybody handles that well. 5. Your chasing may have protected them from confronting their own feelings. This is a deeper layer most people don't think about. When you chase someone, you often make it easier for them not to know what they feel. Why? Because your effort keeps the connection moving without requiring much inner clarity from them. They can stay ambiguous, stay passive, stay half in, half out, stay emotionally lazy. Why would they need to confront themselves when you're doing the reaching? They can just respond when they feel like it, take what they want, stay in the gray area, keep enjoying the access without making a real decision. But when you stop, that fog starts clearing. Now they have to confront questions they were avoiding. Do I actually miss this person? Do I care enough to reach out? Was I taking them for granted? Did I only like being chased? What do I really feel now that the attention is gone? That's why people often act strange after you pull back, because now they have to meet themselves. And Jung would say that people often resist that moment. They resist self-confrontation. They resist emotional truth. They resist the loss of comforting illusions. So instead of sitting quietly and realizing, "I never gave enough," or "I liked the validation more than the person," or "I do care, but I was too passive," they become reactive. Their behavior changes because your silence has become a mirror, and a lot of people do not like mirrors unless they control the angle. 6. Some people only realize your value when access is no longer guaranteed. This is one of the oldest patterns in human relationships. As long as something feels guaranteed, people get casual with it. Not always because they're bad, sometimes because human beings are careless with what feels secure. If they believe you'll always be there, always reach out, always forgive, always reopen the door, always explain yourself, always make the first move, they stop feeling the urgency of your value. Your presence becomes background, your effort becomes expected, your loyalty becomes normal, and what becomes normal often becomes underappreciated. That's why when you stop chasing, people suddenly start acting different, because now access no longer feels guaranteed. Now the person they assumed would always be there has become less available, less predictable, less emotionally accessible, and suddenly they feel your value more sharply, not because your value changed, because their certainty changed. Jung might say that loss or limitation often awakens consciousness. People don't always become aware while things are flowing freely. Sometimes awareness only appears when something is withdrawn. That's why absence can clarify what presence was hiding. And if someone suddenly starts acting more attentive when you stop chasing, it doesn't always mean they've changed deeply. Sometimes it just means they're finally experiencing the relationship without the safety net of your constant effort. That distinction matters, because not every renewed effort is real transformation. Sometimes it's just panic in better clothes. 7. When you stop chasing, insecure people often become more performative. This is something a lot of people notice but don't always have language for. The moment you pull back, some people start performing, posting more, acting extra unbothered, trying to seem more desired, more social, more in demand, more unaffected. Why? Because your withdrawal bruises their ego, especially if they were used to being pursued. Now they need to restore the internal image they had of themselves, the wanted one, the chosen one, the one with the power, the one who doesn't chase. So they start acting out. Not necessarily because they don't care, sometimes because they care too much about how it makes them feel. Jung would probably recognize this as the persona trying to protect itself. The polished image steps in to hide the emotional disturbance underneath. That's why some people suddenly become louder, colder, more performative, or more attention-seeking after you stop giving them energy. They're trying to patch the ego wound without actually addressing the real issue. And that real issue might be, I was more dependent on their attention than I admitted. Or, I don't like that I'm no longer in control of this. This is why saying less, doing less, pulling back quietly can reveal so much. Because without you feeding the dynamic, the other person's coping mechanisms become easier to see. And once you see them, you stop romanticizing the behavior. You start reading it for what it really is. 8. Stopping the chase exposes whether the connection was built on mutuality or maintenance. This is probably the cleanest way to put it. A lot of relationships are not actually mutual. They are maintained. And there's a difference. Mutuality means both people care, both people reach, both people invest, both people notice, both people repair, both people carry. Maintenance means one person is doing most of the emotional work, so the connection keeps functioning. And as long as that person keeps doing it, the relationship looks alive. But once they stop, everything collapses. That collapse is painful, but it's also honest. Because now you know what was really holding it together. Not depth, not love, not equal effort, maintenance. And when you realize that, a lot of your old confusion starts to disappear. Jung's work often points back to one painful truth. People can live inside false arrangements for a very long time if nobody interrupts them. You may have called it chemistry, hope, history, potential. But maybe what you really had was a one-sided structure you kept mistaking for connection. That doesn't mean there was no feeling there at all. It means feeling alone was not enough to make it healthy. And when you stop chasing, health becomes the question. Can this still move if I stop dragging it? That question changes lives. 9. Sometimes they act different because they can finally feel your self-respect. This part matters a lot. Stopping the chase is not only about seeing them, it's also about becoming visible to yourself. Because when you stop chasing, something shifts in your energy. You stop sounding as available. Stop sounding as uncertain. Stop sounding as apologetic. Stop overextending. And people feel that. They feel when someone has pulled their energy back into themselves. They feel when desperation drops. When overfunctioning ends. When self-respect quietly enters the room. That doesn't mean you become cold. It means you stop volunteering for imbalance. And oddly enough, even people who resist it often respect it more. Not always consciously, not always kindly, but they feel the shift. Jung might say that individuation, becoming more fully yourself, often changes your relationships before you say a single word about it. Because you stop participating in patterns that once made you easier to manage. And when that happens, people react. Some respect you more. Some want closer access. Some get angry. Some disappear. But almost nobody stays exactly the same, because self-respect changes the emotional climate. And if you've ever felt that quiet internal shift, where you didn't become louder, you just became done, then you know how powerful it is. People feel when you're no longer negotiating your worth through pursuit. 10. The real reason they act different. You broke the illusion. At the deepest level, this is what's happening. When you stop chasing someone, you break the illusion. The illusion that the relationship could stay alive without their effort. The illusion that they could remain passive without consequence. The illusion that your attention was endless. The illusion that you would always keep the door open no matter how little they gave. The illusion that they could enjoy your presence without choosing you clearly. And people react strongly when illusions break. Because illusions are comfortable. They let people stay unclear, avoidant, entitled, half-committed. But once you stop chasing, comfort leaves. Now there is emptiness where your energy used to be. Now there is responsibility where passivity used to be. Now there is truth where fantasy used to sit. And that truth can feel very different depending on the person. For some it becomes respect. For some regret. For some ego injury. For some a wake-up call. For some the end. Jung would probably say that truth has a disruptive quality. It doesn't just inform, it rearranges. That's why stopping the chase feels so dramatic sometimes, even when you don't make a scene. Because you are not just changing behavior. You are forcing reality to show up. And reality changes everything. So when you stop chasing people, why do they start acting different? Because your chasing was doing more than you realized. It was giving energy, creating comfort, maintaining the illusion, protecting them from uncertainty, protecting them from self-confrontation, giving them access without much effort, giving them emotional power without much responsibility. And when you stop, all of that changes. Now they have to feel what your chasing used to cover up. Their level of interest, their level of effort, their level of emotional maturity, their dependence on your attention, their discomfort with losing control, their inability or ability to meet you halfway. That's why stopping is so powerful. Not because it's a trick, because it tells the truth. And if you're in that season right now, where you've pulled back and suddenly people are acting different, I want you to remember this. Different behavior is information. Don't rush to romanticize it. Don't rush to panic. Don't rush to restart the old pattern just because the silence feels unfamiliar. Watch. Observe. Let people reveal what they do when your energy is no longer carrying the entire connection. That's where the truth lives. And before I leave you, here's the question I want to ask you for the comment section, because I think a lot of people have a story about this. What was the first thing that changed when you stopped chasing someone? Did they become warmer, colder, more distant, or suddenly more interested? That answer says a lot, probably more than people think. If this spoke to you, comment, "I stopped chasing."